Stop. What are you doing to my house? My disabled daughter Emma was screaming from our backyard. I ran outside and saw our HOA president Karen smashing Emma's special house with a sledgehammer. My 16-year-old was crying in her wheelchair, begging Karen to stop destroying her home. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. Karen Williams, our HOA president, was standing in our yard with a huge sledgehammer. She had already smashed 2 windows of Emma's special house and was swinging at the walls like a crazy person. This ugly building is coming down today. Karen screamed, swinging the hammer again. I'm sick of looking at this eyesore. Emma was in her wheelchair, crying and trying to get closer to her house. Please don't break my castle. Please stop. My disabled daughter was begging this woman to stop destroying her home, but Karen kept swinging. I grabbed my phone and called 911. There's a woman with a sledgehammer destroying my disabled daughter's house. Emma's beautiful paintings inside were getting ruined by broken glass. Rain was coming through the holes Karen made. 2 years of Emma's hard work was being destroyed by this monster. Why are you doing this? I yelled at Karen. Because I hate this ugly house and I hate looking at it every day. Karen screamed back, raising the hammer again. That's when I heard a car door slam. Karen's husband Robert had come home from work and saw everything. Let me tell you how we got here. My name is Lisa, and Emma has been in a wheelchair since birth. 2 years ago, we built her a special house in our backyard, her own space with ramps and wide doors. Emma called it Emma's Castle. Karen Williams, our HOA president, hated Emma's house from day one. She sent us letters every week demanding we tear it down. She called the city, the fire department, even child services, all lying about violations. But we had all the right permits. Emma's house was completely legal. Mom, why does that lady hate my house? Emma would ask. Some people are just mean, sweetheart, I told her. Karen's harassment got worse every month. She would take pictures, write complaints, and stare at our house with evil eyes. Emma's husband Robert tried to stop her, but Karen wouldn't listen. She was obsessed with destroying Emma's happiness. This morning, Karen finally snapped and decided to take matters into her own hands. What we didn't know was that Karen's husband, Robert, was getting tired of his wife's behavior. Robert worked as a contractor and knew Emma's house was built perfectly. He felt ashamed of what Karen was doing. Robert started secretly helping us. When Karen would take pictures of our property, Robert would text me to warn us. When Karen planned to file more complaints, Robert would tell us first. My wife has lost her mind, Robert told me one day when Karen wasn't home. I'm sorry for what she's putting your family through. Why don't you stop her? I asked. Robert looked sad. I've tried for 20 years. She doesn't listen to anyone. Emma overheard this conversation. Later, she painted a picture of a sad man trapped in a cage. She titled it, Mr. Robert's Prison. One morning, I woke up to Emma screaming. I ran to the backyard and couldn't believe what I saw. Karen was standing in our yard with a sledgehammer. She had already broken 2 windows of Emma's house and was swinging at the walls. Stop. I yelled. What are you doing? This ugly building is coming down today. Karen screamed back. I'm tired of looking at it. Emma was in her wheelchair, crying and trying to get to her house. Please don't break my castle, she begged. I called 911 immediately. There's a woman destroying my disabled daughter's house with a sledgehammer. But Karen didn't stop. She kept swinging, breaking more windows and damaging the walls. Emma's beautiful paintings inside were getting ruined by broken glass and rain coming through the holes. 20 years of marriage down the drain for this crazy behavior. I heard someone yell. It was Robert. He had arrived home from work and saw what his wife was doing. 2 police cars pulled into our driveway. Officers Johnson and Martinez got out and immediately saw Karen with the sledgehammer in the damaged house. Ma'am, put the weapon down. Officer Johnson commanded. Karen finally stopped swinging. This isn't a weapon. I'm removing an illegal structure. Do you live here? Officer Martinez asked. No, but I'm the HOA president. I have authority. Officer Johnson looked at the damage, then at Emma crying in her wheelchair. His expression changed from professional to angry. Ma'am, you're under arrest for vandalism, trespassing, and destruction of property. You can't arrest me. I'm removing an HOA violation. This is her house, I explained to the officers, pointing to Emma. She's disabled and this is her special house we built for her. Officer Martinez knelt down to Emma's level. Is this your house, sweetheart? Emma nodded, still crying. She broke my castle. All my paintings are ruined. Both officers looked at Karen with disgust. Officer Johnson put handcuffs on her while she kept screaming about HOA rules and her authority. As Karen was being put in the police car, Robert walked up to the officers. "Officers, I'm her husband. I want to press charges too." Everyone looked surprised. "She's been harassing this family for months," Robert continued. "She's embarrassed our family and caused nothing but trouble. I'm done." Robert pulled out a thick envelope from his pocket. "These are divorce papers. I filed them this morning after I saw the damage she caused yesterday when I was at work." Karen's eyes went wide. "Robert, you can't be serious. 22 years of marriage, Karen. 22 years of your anger and meanness. I won't be married to someone who attacks disabled children." Robert handed the divorce papers to Officer Johnson. "Can you give these to her at the police station? I don't want to see her face again." The whole neighborhood had come out to watch. Everyone was staring at Karen in the police car, then at Robert holding the divorce papers. After the police took Karen away, something beautiful happened. All our neighbors came to help. Mrs. Chin from next door brought her husband and sons. "We're fixing Emma's house today," she announced. Mr. Peterson, who owned a glass company, said, "New windows are on me." The Martinez family brought paint and brushes. "Emma needs to paint new pictures." Even families we barely knew showed up with tools, supplies, and food. Emma sat in her wheelchair watching everyone work on her house. For the first time since the attack, she smiled. "Look, Mom," she whispered. "I have so many friends." Robert stayed to help too. "This is the least I can do," he said while fixing a broken door frame. By evening, Emma's house looked better than before. The neighbors had even added a small ramp garden where Emma could plant flowers from her wheelchair. At the police station, Karen was charged with multiple crimes: vandalism, trespassing, a destruction of property, harassment, a disturbing the peace. She kept demanding to call a lawyer and complaining that she was being treated unfairly. "I'm the HOA president. I was enforcing neighborhood standards." Detective Williams, no relation to Karen, was handling her case. "Ma'am, you attacked a disabled teenager's home with a sledgehammer. There are no HOA rules that give you the right to destroy other people's property." That's when Officer Johnson walked in with the divorce papers. "Karen Williams, your husband asked me to serve you these divorce papers." Karen's face went white. She grabbed the papers and started reading. As she read, her hands started shaking. He's taking everything. The house, the cars, even my HOA presidency is mentioned here." Detective Williams looked at the papers. "Your husband is claiming emotional abuse and stating that your harassment of neighbors caused him mental distress." Karen started crying. Not the angry crying from before, but the crying of someone who realized she lost everything. 2 weeks later, we went to court. Emma wore her best dress and had painted a new picture to show the judge. It was her house surrounded by all the neighbors who helped fix it. Karen showed up with a public defender because she couldn't afford a private lawyer anymore. Robert had frozen their joint bank accounts. The prosecutor showed photos of the damage to Emma's house and played a recording of my 911 call where you could hear Emma crying in the background. "Your Honor," the prosecutor said, "the defendant used a sledgehammer to attack a disabled teenager's home while the child watched and begged her to stop." Karen's lawyer tried to argue that she believed she was enforcing HOA rules, but the judge wasn't having it. "Ms. Williams, HOA presidents are not above the law. You had no legal right to enter someone else's property and destroy their building, regardless of any HOA concerns." Emma was allowed to speak to the judge. She wheeled her chair up to the front and showed her painting. "Your Honor, this is my house with all my friends who helped fix it. Karen broke my castle, but my neighbors made it better. I'm not mad at Karen anymore because now I know how many people love me." There wasn't a dry eye in the courtroom. The judge sentenced Karen to 6 months in jail, 2 years probation, $15,000 in damages to our family, 200 hours of community service at a disability center, anger management classes, a restraining order preventing her from contacting our family. "Ms. Williams," the judge said, "you will learn what it means to serve people with disabilities instead of attacking them." Karen broke down crying. "I've lost everything. My husband, my house, my position, everything." "You lost those things because of your own choices," the judge replied. "Actions have consequences." As Karen was led away to start her jail sentence, Robert was in the hallway finalizing their divorce with his lawyer. With Karen gone, the HOA needed a new president. The neighbors held an emergency election and chose Mrs. Chin, who had been the first person to help fix Emma's house. Mrs. Chin's first act as president was to create new HOA rules. No harassment of families with disabled members. No unauthorized entry onto private property. HOA presidents cannot act without board approval. All complaints must go through proper legal channels. She also created a Good Neighbor Award, and gave the first one to Emma for bringing the community together through kindness and forgiveness. Emma was so proud that she painted a picture of all the neighbors holding hands around her house. She titled it, "My Village." Robert's divorce was finalized quickly since Karen was in jail and couldn't contest it. He got to keep the house and most of their assets because the court found that Karen's behavior had damaged his reputation and mental health. But Robert did something unexpected. He sold the big house and bought a small cottage near our neighborhood. He used the extra money to start a foundation that builds accessible housing for disabled children. "I want to spend the rest of my life helping families like yours instead of being married to someone who hurts them," he told us. Robert and Emma became good friends. He would visit her house and help her with woodworking projects. Emma painted him a picture that said, "Thank you for being brave." In jail, Karen had a lot of time to think about what she had done. She was required to take anger management classes and work in the jail's accessibility program, helping make the facility more friendly for disabled visitors. At first, Karen was angry and blamed everyone else for her problems. But slowly, working with disabled people every day, she began to understand what she had done to Emma. She wrote several letters to our family apologizing, but we never responded. Emma wasn't ready to hear from her, and we respected our daughter's feelings. One letter said, "I see now that I was a bully who picked on a child who couldn't defend herself. I am ashamed of who I was." Through all of this, Emma showed incredible strength and maturity. She never spoke with hatred about Karen, even after everything that happened. "I feel sad for her," Emma told me one day. "She must be very unhappy inside to want to hurt other people." Emma's house became the neighborhood gathering place. Kids would come after school to see her new paintings. Adults would stop by for advice because Emma had become known for her wisdom despite being so young. Emma started an art therapy program for other disabled kids in our city. She would teach them to paint their feelings and show them that their differences made them special, not broken. "Karen tried to destroy my castle," Emma would tell the other kids, "but she accidentally helped me build something bigger, a whole kingdom of friends." Our neighborhood became known throughout the city as the most welcoming place for families with disabled children. 3 more families with special needs kids moved to our street because they heard about how supportive everyone was. The city used our neighborhood as an example when training other HOA boards about disability rights and proper procedures. Mrs. Chin organized monthly accessibility walks, where neighbors would identify barriers that might prevent disabled people from enjoying the neighborhood and work together to fix them. Emma's house was featured in the local newspaper as an example of how communities can support independence for disabled teens. After serving her full 6-month sentence, Karen was released from jail. She had completed all her classes and community service while incarcerated. She had changed. The angry, controlling woman was gone. In her place was someone who seemed smaller, quieter, and genuinely remorseful. Karen got a job at the same disability center where she had done community service. She lived in a small apartment and kept to herself. She never tried to contact our family, respecting the restraining order and our wishes for privacy. But Emma heard about Karen from Mrs. Chin, who had run into her at the grocery store. "Mom," Emma said, "I think Karen learned her lesson. Maybe someday I'll forgive her, but not yet." 2 years later, Emma graduated high school with honors. The graduation party was held in our backyard, with Emma's house decorated with lights and flowers. Robert was there, now like an honorary uncle to Emma. Mrs. Chin brought her whole extended family. All the neighbors came, and even some of the kids Emma had helped through her art therapy program. Emma gave a speech from her wheelchair. "2 years ago, someone tried to destroy my house because they thought I didn't belong in this neighborhood. But you all showed me that home isn't just a building, it's the people who love and support you." She paused and looked at her house, now surrounded by the garden the neighbors had expanded over the years. "My house is still here, stronger than before. And so am I." Emma's story had spread beyond our city. A national foundation for disabled students heard about her strength and resilience. They awarded her a full scholarship to study art therapy in college. The scholarship was called the Overcoming Adversity Award, and came with $50,000 for college expenses. At the scholarship ceremony, Emma was asked to speak about overcoming challenges. "I learned that bullies try to make you feel small and powerless," she said. "But the truth is, when someone attacks you unfairly, good people will stand up to protect you. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor surrounded by heroes." The audience gave her a standing ovation. 3 years after the attack, Emma started college. Her art was displayed in the campus gallery, including the painting she made after her house was fixed, the one showing all the neighbors working together. Karen, now working full-time at the Disability Center, saw Emma's story in the local newspaper about her college success. Karen wrote one final letter, not to our family but to the newspaper. 3 years ago, I was a cruel person who attacked a disabled teenager's home. I destroyed property but I couldn't destroy Emma's spirit. She went on to help other disabled children and earn a college scholarship. I am serving people with disabilities now, trying to make up for the harm I caused. Emma and her family don't need to forgive me, but I hope other people will learn from my terrible mistakes and choose kindness instead of cruelty. The newspaper published the letter, and it became a powerful story about redemption and change. Today, Emma is studying art therapy in college and plans to open a center for disabled children. Her childhood house has been converted into an art studio where neighborhood kids still come to paint and learn. Robert's foundation has built 12 accessible homes for disabled children across our state. He named it Emma's Castle Foundation. Our neighborhood is still the most welcoming place for families with special needs. 3 more accessible houses have been built, and the HOA actively recruits diverse families. Mrs. Chin remains HOA president and jokes that her job is the easiest in the city because everyone gets along so well. Karen continues working at the Disability Center and has never caused trouble again. She lives quietly and focuses on helping others. What started as an attack on a disabled teenager's home became a story of community strength and justice. Karen lost everything: her marriage, her home, her position, and her freedom. But more importantly, she lost her power to hurt people. Emma gained everything: community support, national recognition, educational opportunities, and the knowledge that she is loved and valued. Robert found freedom from his toxic marriage and purpose in helping disabled families. Our neighborhood learned that protecting the most vulnerable members makes everyone stronger. The justice wasn't just Karen going to jail, it was watching Emma thrive, seeing the community unite, and knowing that good people will always outnumber the bullies. Emma often says, "Karen thought she could destroy my castle, but she accidentally helped me build a kingdom." And that kingdom continues to grow, one kind act at a time. Today, when Emma drives past her old house in her specially equipped car, she honks the horn twice, once for the house that survived and once for the girl who never gave up. The neighborhood kids always wave back, knowing that Emma's castle will always stand as a symbol that love is stronger than hate, and community is stronger than cruelty.